Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. Check out the Honda Prologue, Accord Hybrid, or Civic Hybrid. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 0.99% APR on a 2025 Prologue, a 2.99% APR on a 2025 Accord Hybrid, or a 4.99% APR on a 2025 Civic Hybrid.
See dealer for financing details. Exclude Civic Si and Type R.
Finding ways to be financially savvy is a smart move, and knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream home or new ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Welcome to Make It Rain with Adam Schein on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Oh, yes, Thursday edition of Make It Rain with Adam Schein here on VSiN, and my goodness, we have so much to do today. Listen, we'll get into all the hockey. I still can't believe what happened with the Oilers and Dallas Stars last night. We will get into the action in the NBA and the NHL tonight. By the way, in case you're scoring at home and I get your tweets, I know that you are. We hit our preseason bets on the NFL MVP. We hit our preseason bet on the NBA MVP. So you're welcome, America. And in the case of SGA, Canada as well. We have some unbelievable day baseball. Got some great baseball action coming up for you later tonight. We'll give you all our plays. Patrick Meagher is going to join us, as he always does, on Thursdays. We're really looking forward to that. And look, you know exactly where we're starting today. This was simply outrageous. This was outrageous. This was soul-sucking. This was insane. This was pure pain. This was, as a sports fan, one of the worst results in my entire soon-to-be 48 years on planet Earth. Like I always say, the worst loss in moment for me as a sports fan, as a diehard Yankee fan, was 95. And that was when I hadn't seen the Yankees win a World Series. And it was Don Mattingly's last game, up 2-0 on the Seattle Mariners. Donnie Baseball had never won a playoff series. Just in moment, lowest of lows. That was pretty low. You know, losing the Rockets game when John Starks couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat, that was low. The finger roll with Patrick Ewing, I mean, it was right there. Reggie Miller choke, obviously. That's an all-timer. The Charles Smith game, obviously. Last night's was in that category, and watching it with my son probably took it to a whole different level. That was over. Like, I'm not even afraid to admit, right, as a sports fan, as a sports gambler, and I'm sure a lot of people, and I was following Twitter, thought they were going to cash at Knicks minus 4.5. I told my son as we go from the living room up to his bed, I said, you know, the game's over. You can at least get ready for bed. It's 14 points. And I wasn't saying that with any kind of jinx. I mean, history said this game was over, and the Knicks played brilliantly, and so many things worked. Karl Anthony Towns, our lock of the night last night, our G-Bag best bet. It hits. We said 30 and 10 for Cats. We said Jalen Brunson would score over 40. It happened. We said Mitchell Robinson, an impact. Mikal Bridges hitting his shots. The Knicks were up 14 with 2:45 to go. Teams that had that kind of lead, 14 or more, in the fourth quarter with 2:45 to go, were 994 and 0. 994 and 0. The game was over. The bet was cashed until it wasn't. Pacers scored 23 points in the final 3:14 of regulation, most ever in the final 3:14 of regulation by a team in the postseason. I mean, my goodness. It was all coming up next until it wasn't. This was one of the most excruciating losses that I've ever been a part of as a sports fan. We've waited as Knicks fans 25 years. We've had to deal with Phil Jackson and Derek Fisher and Isaiah Thomas and, all the Eddie Curry, all the garbage and nonsense, and Jim Dolan for 20-plus years, 2 decades plus of pain. And, you think everything is going your way. And I can't even fault the fan who left to try and beat the traffic and the chaos outside Madison Square Garden, where at the end of the fourth quarter, you had fans outside the Garden chanting Knicks in 4. I mean, it's crazy. You saw Brunson get into the foul trouble, and he goes to the bench. OG hits the 3, then the 2. Carlisle calls the timeout. Joint is jumping. Deuce with the block. Cat having, as we mentioned, that unbelievable game. And it's over. And it's over till it wasn't. And I'll never forgive the Knicks for this one if they lose the series. Aaron Nesmith was all of a sudden Steph Curry meets Michael Jordan. I mean, Nesmith, are you kidding me? What the hell was that? 30 points, and he just hit 3 after 3 after 3. It was remarkable to watch. It was insane. And I don't know if at the end of the day, this was a spot and this was a situation where it's because it's the Pacers and I hate the Pacers and it's a true rivalry. We had Frank Isola on Make It Rain with Adam Schein to talk about that. Reggie Miller's literally in your ear the entire game. When Nesmith hits his second 3 in that spot, I'm like, okay, this is officially now, this is a thing. We need to officially be on upset watch. And that was absolutely crazy. 17 points for Nesmith in a 3-minute, 2-second span. 6 consecutive threes in the final 4:55 of the game. 8 of 9. This is Aaron Nesmith. 8 of 9 from 3. I mean, the whole thing was absolutely wild. Knicks got ridiculously sloppy down the stretch. They didn't control the clock, taking haphazard threes. The Brunson, and I live for Jalen Brunson, one of my all-time favorite athletes, and he scored. He was getting sloppy with the basketball at the end. A couple of bad passes. That pass to OG Anunoby was just insane, and that turned out to be a turnover after a lengthy review. Cat missed the free throw. Then you saw what happened with, obviously, OG missing the free throw. TNT did a great job keeping the camera, producer, director on OG's face. He was spooked. He was shook. There was no way he was going to be able to hit that free throw. And then Halliburton dribbles up the court, and he's the king of clutch, and he's unbelievable. And he has the ability to take a 2, steps back to take a 3. It takes up, and it looked off when he shot it, takes this crazy bounce and plops in. And he instantly goes to the choke, and I couldn't even hate him for it. I think Halliburton's an unbelievable stud, a complete and utter star, sensational winning ball player. And these Pacers, man, they do it again. I mean, it's kind of crazy. And then you go to overtime, and this after the Knicks fans have to deal with, and it turned out to be a 2. Foot was on the line, Kevin Durant style. Remember that Game 7, Brooklyn and Milwaukee, the year that the Bucks won the championship? And so we go to overtime. Knicks scored the first 4 points. And then, and I'm going to say this without raising my voice, because there are other things that were more pronounced, obviously, with the Knicks collapsing and being foolish and not playing defense and turning it over and missing free throws, and the Pacers and Nesmith and Halliburton going absolutely nuts. Knicks are up 4 in overtime, and Miles Turner clearly was guilty of a goaltend on Jalen Brunson. Even Reggie Miller said as much on the broadcast. They didn't call it. That's a huge non-call. It was crystal clear. So instead of the Knicks being up 6, it's a missed shot by Brunson, long, loose ball after the block. They go up, and then Nebhard hits a 3. And instead of a 6-point lead, it's a 1-point lead. And honestly, that was the dagger sequence after the ultimate dagger when you look at it from Halliburton. Take a look at what the Pacers have been able to do. I mean, this is who they are. This is what they do. And I say this as a Knicks fan. What scares me, I mean, they didn't even play a great game yesterday. Since 96-97, teams that have trailed by 7 or more points in the final 50 seconds of the fourth quarter or overtime of the playoffs are 4 and 1,702. 3 of those 4, the Indiana Pacers this postseason. I mean, think about that. 3 of those wins, the Pacers, last night, the game against Cleveland in game number 2 in Cleveland, and obviously the game to wrap it up against Milwaukee. I mean, that is insane. Their confidence level is off the charts. Before last night, teams leading by 9 or more with a minute left take a look at it. Just absolutely incredible. This is why I thought it was over. 1,414-0 in NBA playoff games. Pacers made it 1,414-1. It's just absolutely positively obscene. It's absolutely positively absurd. I can't believe the way Jalen Brunson played down the stretch. Obi Toppin, ain't no stopping Obi Toppin, former Knick, comes home, grew up in New York, and he had a couple of dunk slates. The Knicks didn't box out. Defense was a step slow. I talked to Kevin Harlan, who's sensational, doing the play-by-play for TNT. Talked to him today on my SiriusXM radio show. He said you could feel it down the stretch of the final few minutes where the Knicks were just a step slow. Halliburton and Carlisle, they carry that entire team. And he told us, a couple minutes before, Stan Van Gundy wanted to kind of get into the Game 2 storylines because this one was over. It's wild here. And look, you look at the Game 2 odds, and this series is not over, and I want to stress that. I don't think it's exaggeration, though, to call this a must-win for game number 2. I'm not surprised that Vegas is favoring New York. I thought the post-game news conferences, Tom Thibodeau, Jalen Brunson, who are basically clones in terms of demeanor and approach and presentation, I was not surprised in any way, shape, or form to see that they were saying, okay, let's turn this into devastation, turn it into determination. I'm paraphrasing here, but not surprised to see New York favored by 5.5 in this one. And look, you look at the series odds, and if you get game 1 of a conference finals, you're in a monster position to be successful. Look, the series odds shifted based upon last night, and I understand that completely. Knicks were favored, and now it's Indiana, and I understand this. And here's the deal, right? And you know me. I picked the Knicks to win this series. I respect the hell out of the Indiana Pacers. This team is deep. They're talented. You saw McConnell come off the bench and do some unbelievable things last night. Look, I think that when you look at it from the standpoint of everything going on with the Indiana Pacers, they stole one last night when obviously the Knicks outplayed them for most of the game. Pacers with a legendary, historic, epic comeback. The Knicks with a legendary, epic collapse. I didn't sleep. My son didn't sleep. New York didn't sleep. I still think the Knicks are going to find the way to take game number 2.
Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. It's time to take an adventure with rugged capability and commanding style. Check out the Honda Ridgeline, Pilot, Passport, or CR-V. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 1.99% APR on a 2025 Ridgeline or a 3.99% APR on a 2025 Pilot, 2026 Passport, or 2025 CR-V.
See dealer for financing details.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're watching Make It Rain on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Smarter bets start here and last all year with VSiN Pro. Right now, sign up on an annual subscription, get 14 months for $199. When you use the promo code PRO, that's an extra 2 months for free for less than 50 cents a day. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber today. Get instant access to a daily email with all the best bets from hosts and their desks. Real-time betting splits from DraftKings and Circa. 24/7 video access on the VSiN Watch app, plus full access to VSiN.com's analytics, betting trends, expert breakdowns. Don't wait. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe. Use the promo code PRO to lock in this offer. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. Well, in theory, with my Knicks losing in the fashion that they did, I'm really not in the mood to say you gotta love sports, but I do think there are a lot of reasons why, if you're a non-Knicks fan, you do have to love sports, and we absolutely want to acknowledge that in every possible way. And I want to start with my guy, SGA MVP. We said before the season started, lock in SGA as the MVP. And there were a couple of reasons why we said it, if you remember. We said we think he's going to dominate, have a tremendous year, be one of the handful of best players in the association, and we picked OKC to get the 1 seed and dominate what we expected to be a congested West. And that's exactly why this, to me, was a no-brainer. See, Jokic has won the MVP 3 times, and I say this as a voter when it comes to the NFL. Anyone who cites voter fatigue should lose their job as a voter, because you vote for the MVP. I think you could easily make the case this was Jokic's best year as a pro, but he wasn't the MVP. Every year is different. And again, this is not the best player award. If it was best player, congrats to Jokic. That's not the award. It's MVP, so you have to be dominant and you have to be valuable. And if you look at the side-by-side stats, and obviously for SGA, they're off the charts. They're amazing. The feel is even better. I mean, SGA is an absolute superstar. Let's be crystal clear about that. They also, in a congested West, were 16 games ahead of the second-place Houston Rockets. Like, that matters. Like, if OKC wins a title this year, this should go down in NBA history as one of, again, they have to win for this to hold, one of the great single seasons, like a top 10 single season if they win a title in the history of the NBA. Like, that's what we're talking about here. So this was always a prediction. We never wavered. We never waffled. And I firmly believe that the voters got it right here with SGA being the MVP. Excellent, excellent stuff. I can't wait for the Thunder and the Timberwolves tonight. And you know that I like the Thunder to take care of business and win this game. I am not going to play this one with the points as we take a look at the board because I think the number's a little too rich. Frankly, I would lean on Minnesota. I think Anthony Edwards and company bounce back in a major way. I want you to take a look at the game 2 props for SGA and for the Ant-Man. And honestly, I would lean on the over here for both. I think, look, you know me. I've bet on SGA, and we've had the G-Bank Best bet on SGA over consistently. It's almost like a running joke with our incredible producer, Michael Cohen, and yours truly, and we've been ridiculously successful doing it. I kind of think the best bet on the board here of the 2 stars is Ant over. You know, last game he was at 18. I think that he knows, and he said as much post-game, he needs to be more aggressive in order for this basketball team to be in position to win. So I like SGA over. I kind of love Edwards and his over at minus 120 of 24.5. So that's where I'm at in terms of the SGA versus Ant props. And I'll tell you the other one that I like a lot, and that's Julius Randle, 19.5 over. I think that is a really, really good play. I think that Williams, you know, it's tough to bet on Jalen Williams over 20. And I wouldn't even touch the under either. I mean, that's, you know, you can't even get, you know, good juice on that because you almost expect it, right? You know, Williams, if he pumps in 8 or pumps in 28 or anywhere in between, I do think we're looking at a more consistent version, but of the plays here, Randall's the one I feel the best about. So I think OKC wins. I think OKC wins a tight one. I'm not going to play it, but a lean on the Timberwolves having the ability tonight to keep this one very, very close. I still think this is going to end up being a long series, and I do have OKC winning this game, winning this round, and ultimately winning a championship, and it'll go down in history as one of the better teams that we've seen in a single season. So I am always honest with the audience. It's a trust, you, me, everyone at VSiN, Michael Cohen, the guys in the Vegas studio. I don't ever say anything I don't mean, and I'm never disingenuous. When it was 3-1 Oilers, I stopped checking. I just figured I won, I would cash, game is over, I'm watching my Knicks. It's one of the biggest losses, debacles, collapses, chokes I've ever seen. And then I saw this. What the hell happened to my Oilers last night? 3-1, I'm thinking, great, I don't have to check this puppy out anymore. That's rough. That's rough stuff. Especially because I still think Edmonton wins this series. I still think Edmonton wins in 6. But when you're up by a couple of goals, you should be able to win, especially when you're the better team and you're in Dallas for this one. Stars scored 4 goals in the third. 4. My goodness. By the way, when you take a look at the series board, I mean, I'd grab it now with the Oilers at plus money at plus 160. And the Oilers in 6 right now at plus 550. I mean, thank me later. We're a hockey show. I still think the Oilers, who never flinch. Remember, there's a team that was down 0-3, and then it became 3-3 when you look at it in the Stanley Cup final last year. I think that the Oilers are still going to find the way to take care of business and win the game. How about the Panthers and the Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference final? And game 2 is tonight. And I'll tell you the story of the Hurricane. It's not a positive one. And I love Florida. Florida on the money line. Florida plus 110. Bob is on fire. And I just think Carolina doesn't even deserve to be here. Take a look at the series board for the Panthers and the Carolina Hurricanes. And I really think that there's a shot. And we originally said Panthers in 5. I mean, I kind of love the juice. I can't stop staring at it here. When it comes to 4 games for this hockey club, I think that actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, I'll bring my broom to work if I have to, but I think that's where my brain is at right now when it comes to these Florida Panthers. How about my New York Yankees? What a tremendous job by my New York Yankees. Last night, this afternoon, bring your broom to work day in New York. How about the Yankees? Last night, they are getting absolutely stoned by Jacob deGrom, and it's so great for baseball. Jacob deGrom is back. Jacob deGrom is back to being Jacob deGrom. deGrom looks unbelievable. And then, as a lot of New Yorkers, hand raised, myself included, so I didn't get to see this live at the time, the Martian, Jason Dominguez, are you kidding me? Hits a bomb. Yankees, how about this nugget? First walk-off Yankee homer since 2022. That's amazing. And since May 1st, Dominguez has been absolutely positively locked in, and that has been incredibly impressive. Take a look at the American League East and the American League East odds and the odds board. And, you know, the Yankees are playing an unbelievable brand of baseball right now, and they deserve a ton of credit. And the Yankees this afternoon just picked up their 30th win of the season, a gorgeous 1-0 win over the Texas Rangers. The pitching matchup on paper was really good, and frankly, I thought that the Rangers, okay, getaway day, and not a nice day outside in New York, you know, they would be able to get a win. Eovaldi was terrific. Rodon was just a little bit better. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you look at it. Nate Eovaldi, who is having one hell of a year. He's rocking an ERA of 1.6. He had 6 strikeouts and gave up 1 run. But Carlos Rodon was magnificent, absolutely sensational. 6 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts, only walked 2. He got a 6th win of the season. Luke Weaver got the save, but I do want to point this out. Evan Williams has been excellent in his role as the setup man. That's obviously not why the New York Yankees got him in that trade from Milwaukee. His start to the season was completely disastrous in every possible way. But don't look now. The New York Yankees are 30-19. And we will make sure, we always do this on the Tuesday after Memorial Day, really take the temperature, big picture of who we trust, who we want to bet on moving forward for all the teams in Major League Baseball. Yankees haven't even hit their stride yet, and they're 30-19. That is great stuff.
You're watching Make It Rain on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Start your day with an edge and a game plan. The VSiN Daily Morning Bets podcast is your first look at the day's betting line. Sharp action, market movement. In just 15 minutes, you'll get everything you need to know to make smarter wagers and stay ahead of the line moves. All before your morning coffee is gone. I live for my morning coffee. Hosted by VSiN's team of trusted betting experts, the Daily Morning Bets podcast, fast, focused, and built for bettors like you. Listen to the VSiN Daily Morning Bets podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, or get it on the VSiN Watch app. Sharpest way to start your betting day is the VSiN Daily Morning Bets podcast. Welcome back. Make It Rain with Adam Schein. Joining us right now live on the Progressive guest line. You know him, you love him, you can't live without him. My guy, Patrick Meagher, the critically acclaimed host of VSiN Live, Patty and the Big Guy on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Weeknight, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Patrick, how are you?
Yeah, many don't know that Adam Schein is a 2 coffee a day guy, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. I go black, iced, no cream, no sugar, but I have to start here. There's terrible rumors circulating that the Schein house got a little cocky last night with the Knicks. Of course, Theo was sent packing to bed a little early. And unfortunately, a 138-135 winner, Halliburton, Pacers, and the Knicks down 0-1 in the series. Can you confirm? Because I'm looking to confirm this rumor.
Well, let's make sure we're crystal clear. I suggested bed with a 14-point lead. That did not happen. Unfortunately for Theo, he got to witness pain, which will make him a better sports fan eventually. We've all been there. You're a Lions fan. We've got countless Knicks games, obviously. But no, Theo Schein not only stayed up, he was not able to fall asleep. Katie let him sleep a little later today. By the time 12:15 rolled around and he was having nightmares about Halliburton, and Katie came back into the room and said, bleep you and bleep the Knicks. And for the record, she just wanted to make sure that it's clear. She is enjoying every single second of the Knicks and the ride. But, it's my fault because Theo is an amazing, psychotic, incredible sports fan. And, yeah, I said 14 points. I gave all the... We should go from the living room to upstairs, just maybe brush your teeth, get ready for bed. This game ends, ready to go to sleep at 10:30 instead. That was rough, Patty. So we went through it, and I'm curious for you as a sports fan, and also because this was at play here, a sports bettor. When did you start to think at the end this thing was going to swing?
Well, I got lucky because I did have the Pacers plus 4.5, and that's baseball, Susan. Here's the deal, Adam Schein. When Halliburton walks back and shoots that 3 with the toe on the line, I'm pissed because I think I'm going to overtime and losing my catching 4.5 bet. But I'm just going to say this. The Knicks got exposed last night. They got exposed in Game 5 in Boston. I'm sorry, but that's a soft basketball team. That's unprecedented. What we saw last night is freaking unprecedented. And the Knicks collapse. I mean, Theo and Timothy Chalamet and everybody crying into their pillows tonight. I had, prior to the series, the Pacers in 5 plus 850. I stick with it, obviously, after a Game 1 win. But Adam Schein, that was some theater last night at MSG.
So I love that was your pick, and I love that was your play. And I said Knicks in 7, not because I was hedging, because I respect the hell out of the Pacers. This team is phenomenal. This team is not a fluke. And going into last night in the playoffs, they had 6 guys who had scored between 10 and 19 points. And Patrick, for last night, it's unprecedented, but when it comes to the Pacers this postseason, it's literally precedented. I mean, we've seen this kind of comeback against Cleveland and Milwaukee, and Here's the kick in the pants for me as a Knicks fan, and I don't think the series is over, but I acknowledge how great the Pacers are. They didn't even play great basketball. They were phenomenal, and Nesmith just hit shot after shot. So many things went right for the Knicks, wrong for Indiana, and that should give you hope for Game 2 and your play of Indiana in 5.
Yeah, I thought the Pacers were actually quite bad in the game until when it mattered, which is quite ironic because your boy and Theo's boy, Jalen Brunson, was the clutch player of the year, and the clutch player in this postseason has been Tyrese Halliburton. There's really no question. You take a look at the adjusted series price, the Pacers minus $1.45. That's essentially what the Knicks were going into the series. I love the Pacers. I really do. I think they're only going to get better. They're going to be buoyed with confidence from the performance at MSG in Game 1. But you know what? What's troubling is we've seen this from the Knicks. We saw this from the Knicks against the Pistons, a team they should have pummeled. And now they got cute last night. Even when Brunson's off the floor, what scares you is the Knicks went on a run. Brunson has to pull himself together and match Halliburton moving forward.
Listen, I want to argue with that take, and I still trust Jalen Brunson more than anyone or anything else, but I can't argue that off last night. I mean, when he went out, I was wondering if that was going to be with the 5 fouls, turning point in the game. OG hit those back-to-back shots, called timeouts. Deuce had the block. The reserves were playing great. The others were playing great. Brunson was part of the problem down the stretch. He was sloppy.
Yes, sir.
Bad shots, bad passes. It was disappointing to watch, and man, the whole thing was tough stuff. And look, Indiana obviously had it going on when it mattered. So do you think tomorrow night the Knicks bounce back? With your prediction of 5, do you give the Knicks tomorrow? I'm fascinated to see how both these clubs come out for game number 5. And it goes noted, Knicks are favored, Patrick, by 5.5 points.
Yep, yesterday closed 4.5. I'm seeing 6 on the board with the Knicks, so the market obviously expect the bounce back from the Knicks. I very much do not. I like the Pacers. I love what the Pacers did when they went to Cleveland and put their foot on the throat of the Cavs. I think this is a pretty special Indiana team starting to build with a great coach. I'll take the 6 points if you can find it tomorrow night at MSG.
How about when you take a look at our guy SGA winning the MVP? You know this was my preseason bet. We stayed consistent all year. I think it was a no-brainer. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, it's semantics when talking about, you and I have been talking about this on the radio forever. What does most valuable mean? And essentially, they go 68 wins with the best player. You're going to win the MVP. Nobody's going to argue he's better than Jokic, obviously. But SGA, he's fantastic. What's fascinating about SGA, he's taken on Ant, and Ant is potentially being called the next face of the NBA. The only reason it's not SGA is he's a little bit more finesse. He's about that business. And while Anthony Edwards is electric, SGA is, 3 times the player right now.
Listen, no argument for me, and I am fascinated to see what transpires now tonight. And you saw when Ernie Johnson and company interviewing SGA when he won the MVP, his entire team was there. They have great togetherness that's been exhibited on and off the court. And I do think that matters, Patrick, and one of the reasons why I picked OKC to win this series, win a championship preseason. This number tonight does fascinate me. Do you have a play on the Thunder and the Timberwolves?
I do, Adam. I've got over 216.5. That total dropped 5-6 points from game 1. Now, it has risen from, 212.5, 213.5 up to 216.5. But Edwards did nothing. We just talked about him. He wasn't aggressive. He got to the rim one time. All right. They shot 51 3-pointers, made 15. 83 shots in total, Adam, from Minnesota. 51 of them threes. I expect drastic changes from Minnesota. Not just their approach, but their focus. They were much too passive in the game. Naz Reid was non-existent. Oklahoma City, terrible in the first half, outscored Minnesota 70-40 in the second half. I'm expecting points tonight. I love Oklahoma City's defense. Don't get it twisted, but I'm expecting a bounce back offensively from Minnesota, and I'm going to go over the 216.5.
I want to get your take on the tush push, because when we first met at SiriusXM, you were hosting a Maxim show, and albeit you used to talk about the tush push a lot, it was a little different when you were on Maxim Radio. But let's get into, I want to get your reaction here. And ultimately, I mean, I got to think, I already locked it in. Eagles favored by 1.5 against Green Bay. Are you kidding me? That feels like the bet of the century.
You got to leave the tush push alone. I hate it. I think it's boring. It does nothing for me. I check out when we start seeing that formation in a game, but you got to beat it. You got to somehow schematically come up with something. We saw Washington in the playoff game against, do a little something, but it had to stay for now. I just thought it was funny. Lurie was there, filibustering for an hour and a half about the merits of the tush push. Can we move on from this dumb play?
I'm with you. It's not an aesthetically pleasing play. It's not football, but this is so much ado about nothing. It's anti-Philly. If this was the Jacksonville Jaguars, nobody would care. Patty, you're the best. You are a tush-push expert. We'll be listening to you and the big guy tonight on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Thanks, Adam.
Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. It's time to take an adventure with rugged capability and commanding style. Check out the Honda Ridgeline, Pilot, Passport, or CRV. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 1.99% APR on a 2025 Ridgeline or a 3.99% APR on a 2025 Pilot, 2026 Passport, or 2025 CRV.
See dealer for financing details.
Kick off summer with Memorial Day savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Plus, get up to 40% off select major appliances and save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/28. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
You're watching Make It Rain on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Take your betting to the next level with First Bets, whether it's Santa Anita, Gulfstream Park, Saratoga Racecourse. First Bet puts the action at your fingertips. Sign up now at firstbet.com. That's number one, stbets.com. Use the promo code VSiN200 to score a 20% rebate on all your wagers for the first 60 days, up to $200. Don't miss out. Bet smarter today at firstbet.com. Welcome back. Make It Rain with Adam Schein. Time right now for our news, notes, nuggets, and nightly plays. And boy, I was really sad yesterday to learn about the passing of Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay. Jim Irsay was one of my favorite owners in all of sports, someone that I always appreciated and really enjoyed all of our interactions together. He was ridiculously passionate about his Colts, about the city of Indianapolis, about his players, about the state of Indiana. He was dedicated, he was smart, he was accountable, he was available. You know, one of the things about Jim Irsay, and it always stayed with me, and you see it right there with Dwight Freeney. Jim Irsay was asked to induct Dwight Freeney, Marvin Harrison, and Edgerrin James into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. All three of those Indianapolis Colts could have picked anybody, any coach, any teammate, any family member, anybody to induct them into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Freeney, Harrison, Edge all picked Jim Irsay. He was a really wonderful person in terms of donating to charity, doing so many things behind the scenes, paying for funerals, making sure people could survive and had a place to go and a place to eat and a place to sleep, and just was such a beautiful heart. He had a He battled demons throughout his life, and I love Jim Irsay. As unique and as special and as beautiful an owner. I know that Indianapolis, even on the heels of the Pacers win, I know that the sports fans and the people in Indianapolis today are hurting. And I'm hurting alongside with you. Jim Irsay was an omnipresent, larger-than-life owner. He was the first owner to publicly call out Daniel Snyder. When other owners would not do that, when Daniel Snyder was just doing some really awful and grotesque and harmful things, and the first one to publicly call out Daniel Snyder was Jim Irsay, and I'll always remember that and applaud him for that. So deepest condolences to the Irsay family, to Colts fans, to the entire organization. You've been reading, I'm sure, and seeing tons of beautiful tributes from former players, from T.Y. Hilton, from Pat McAfee to Peyton Manning, to so many others, to Dwight Freeney, who was so eloquent. And I've known Dwight for a long time, and he's had so many great teammates. I've known his dad, Hugh, forever, and he loved Jim Irsay, absolutely loved him. So deepest condolences to the Colts and to the Irsay family. Jim Irsay, as unique and special an owner as you will find in professional sports. Let's move on with the rest of the action and get into Major League Baseball from this afternoon. And we have some live baseball updates and some day ball to get into. And the Toronto Blue Jays and the San Diego Padres are currently locked in a good one. The game is in the ninth inning, bottom of the ninth in Toronto, and the score is tied at 4. And this is a game where Gavin Sheets has 4 RBI for the Padres, and we've seen some really good at-bats from him. Excellent stuff. And, also we've been able to see Merrill get a couple of hits and score a couple of runs as well. So that certainly could help in terms of some of the props for today. A couple of base knocks for Bo Bichette as well. So that's where we are at with the Padres and the Toronto Blue Jays. We have big news right now in Colorado. It's the 4th inning of a Colorado Rockies baseball game, and the Rockies are not losing. The Colorado Rockies, the 8-41 Colorado Rockies are not losing this baseball game. That counts as news. Now, look at the betting odds for the Rockies and the Phillies. It's kind of crazy. Even with a 0-0 game, and odds oftentimes as it gets later, it shifts to the home team. Philadelphia is obviously, rightly, minus 345 on the money line. That's all you need to know when it comes to the Colorado Rockies and what Vegas thinks. Angels and the A's. Angels and the A's. It is the 2nd inning in Sacramento. And we have a score. It's 2-0. The A's just put a couple of runs on the board. Sweet Lou Severino is on the bump today for the A's, the Sacramento Rob Manfred A's. So we now have a score. It is 2-0. 2-0. The A's are leading the Angels. Sweet Lou Severino, as we mentioned, is on the mound. Rooker, who is such a really good player. I mean, I just really enjoy watching him rake. He hits his 11th home run of the season. Brent Rooker, I wish for him that he was on a different team so he would get the pub that he richly deserves. Rooker with a home run, that is accounting for the runs for the Rob Manfred A's, who are leading the Angels 2-0 today in Sacramento. Mets able to bounce back and beat the Boston Red Sox to avoid a serious sweep. And it was another game where Juan Soto, taking cookies and pitches and meatballs right down the middle. If anyone thinks Juan Soto is happy or into it, you're not watching what we're watching now. Mets 3-game losing streak was snapped. Good for the Mets. Francisco Lindor hit a homer in the 9th that put the Mets in charge in this one. So that's where the Mets are able to salvage a game. I still don't love this baseball team big picture. When I say that, I still think Philly wins the division. I still think Atlanta will eventually be fully healthy and play their best ball. So I am not a believer in locking in anything when it comes to the New York Mets as a playoff team. Guardians-Tigers tonight. This should be fun. Captain Jack is on the mound, Jack Flaherty, who is 2-5 with a 4.44 ERA in 9 starts this season. Now, Captain Jack in his last start, 5 innings pitched and gave up 5 hits, gave up a home run, 6 strikeouts on the 16th of May against Toronto. So, the Guardians, they were able to win against Detroit yesterday, snapped that 5-game losing streak, so that is pretty important. The Tigers are 33-17, best record when it comes to the American League. I mentioned the Yankees getting that win this afternoon against the Texas Rangers. I mentioned that earlier in the show. The Yankees are very close to Detroit right now, but the Tigers and A.J. Hinch's club, they deserve that kind of love, that kind of credit, that kind of shine here. They've done an excellent job, and they have been the best team and should be the betting favorites when it comes to the American League big picture for the postseason. Brewers Pirates in Pittsburgh tonight. And this on the heels, of course, of John Heyman from the New York Post and MLB Network saying that they are not going to trade Paul Skeens and continue and try and build around him. Would be nice if, they tried to actually do just that. I mean, my goodness. O'Neal Cruz leads baseball in stolen bases. He has 18, just in case you are looking for some fun props tonight with regards to that game. And the Mariners-Astros interest me a lot. Seattle's minus 135. Over-under is 8.5. George Kirby going up against Lance McCullers. This interests me greatly. Kirby can pitch, and this is the season debut for George Kirby, who last season had a 3.53 ERA, a 1.07 whip. So it's a big deal here for the Mariners, who I like as a playoff team, so the rich get richer. Time right now for our best bets, brought to you by G-Bank, introducing the $500 trifecta from G-Bank First Bet and VSiN. All you need is you got to open a G-Bank Visa Signature credit card. First 90 days, deposit, play through, $1,000 at first bet. Trigger the $500 trifecta. You'll get $200 in cashback rewards and G-Bank Visa Signature credit card. First bet's going to give you a $100 deposit match. Visa completes the trifecta with a free VSiN Pro subscription through August the 31st. It's a $200 value. That's the $500 trifecta from G-Bank First Bet and VSiN. Head on over to VSiN.com/GBank, VSiN.com/GBank. This one-time promotion limited to the customers opening a new account in response to the offer will not apply to requests to convert existing accounts. Apply today. Terms and conditions apply. Listen, we're hot this week. We've won every best bet. We hit the Panthers the other night. Somehow there's juice attached once again. I'll tell you the story of the Hurricanes. It doesn't end well. We'll take Florida on the money line at plus 110. Stay tuned to VSiN after Make It Rain. Follow the money. My guys, Mitch and Paulie. Can't wait for the show. Then, of course, VSiN Primetime and then cashing out. Thanks to the guys in the Vegas control room. Thanks to the great Mike Cohen. Talk to you mañana. Make it rain with Adam Schein.
Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. Check out the Honda Prologue, Accord Hybrid, or Civic Hybrid. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 0.99% APR on a 2025 Prologue, a 2.99% APR on a 2025 Accord Hybrid, or a 4.99% APR on a 2025 Civic Hybrid.
See dealer for financing details. Exclude Civic Si and Type R.
Memorial Day doorbuster deals are here at Lowe's. Right now, rewards members save $80 on the Master Forge 4-burner gas grill, now just $149. Plus, rewards members save $900 on the Lowe's exclusive Hisense French door refrigerator, now only $999. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/26. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at Lowe's.com/terms. Subject to change.